You're gonna love it in an instant, the instant you try it. You're gonna love it in an instant.
So cool and frosty, rich and creamy.
Carnation instant breakfast. You're gonna love it in an instant.
Wake up to the great taste of Carnation Instant Breakfast. It's got all the nutrition you need to start your day.
Carnation instant breakfast. You're gonna love it in an instant.
So, working late. Oh, but dinner's waiting. Great, I'm starved. Not the freezer, the shelf. New Kraft microwave entrees. Kraft. Beef stew.
Juicy beef chunks, vegetables and potatoes in a hearty gravy. Kraft slow cooks them, and all the taste is sealed in, so no preservatives are needed. Takes 2 minutes.
This is my kind of food. Later, pal.
New Kraft microwave entrees. Your kind of food on the shelf.
Tulsa's police chief, Tuesday on Good Morning Oklahoma.
From ABC News, this is a Gulf War update.
I'm Carol Simpson in Washington. Baghdad Radio says Iraqi troops have been ordered to withdraw from Kuwait to positions they held before the August 2nd invasion. The Pentagon says there's scattered evidence that some Iraqi units are in fact moving north. But the White House says there's been no word through official channels, so the war goes on. Some of the worst Allied casualties today came behind the lines when debris from a Scud missile hit a U.S. barracks in Dhahran, Saudi Arabia, killing at least 12 GIs and wounding 25. 40 are missing. At least 25,000 Iraqi soldiers have now surrendered to Allied forces. This has been a Gulf War update.
In the same way a good headline catches your eye, you've probably been lured to tonight's show by one word in the title: secrets. Hi, I'm Al Michaels, and even in this age of information overload with newspapers and magazines and television shows churning out an endless stream of information, we're often more fascinated finding out things we aren't supposed to know. There's an almost illicit thrill involved in knowing things that we shouldn't, in being a part of things that others aren't. A secret is a siren's call we frequently can't resist. Tonight, the dark side of James Dean. Did he leave a curse on the car he died in?
The curse on this car has made this probably one of the most wanted cars in the history of automobiles.
Think you can cheat the house? Well, in Las Vegas, the action may be on the floor, but the secrets are found in the ceiling.
These people practice day in and day out to beat the system.
I really shouldn't tell you this, but
he's known with awe as the Game Master, and he's about to spill the ultimate secrets of Nintendo.
I think the ultimate tip for Super Mario 3 is that there's a way that you can defeat King Koopa.
It's America's secret airline. If you meet the right qualifications, you fly for free. But there is one catch.
We don't serve coffee nor tea, just me.
What secrets does the sky hold over Gulf Breeze, Florida?
Since a few people that were well respected in the community came forward and talked about their sightings, hundreds of others have chimed in to say, here I am to talk about it too.
So stay with us while we open the doors to a world of hidden information and reveal the truth behind America's best kept secrets. James Dean was only 24 years old when he died in a high-speed crash in 1955. His career was very short. It spanned only 3 films. And yet, after his death, his fame continued to grow, and he was elevated to legendary and finally cult status. James Dean left behind a legacy of teenage rebellion for an entire generation. But there are those who believe he left behind even more: a curse on the car he died in. In 1950, he made his first screen appearance, earning $30 for this TV commercial. That's Dean on the right, an early and, in retrospect, unlikely member of the Pepsi generation.
Pepsi-Cola hits the spot, a big bottle and it's got bounce, bounce, bounce.
5 years later, he was a Hollywood phenomenon, although most of his fame came posthumously. At the time of his death, Rebel Without a Cause and Giant, his two biggest films, hadn't even been released. This is Dean's best-known scene, the chicken race from Rebel Without a Cause. But what's far lesser known is that off-screen, Dean was serious about racing. The mid-50s was Southern California's golden age of sports car racing, and Dean and his Porsche Speedster were well on their way to becoming fixtures in it. He started with a bang, winning the very first race he entered in Palm Springs. This is never-before-seen footage of Dean racing in May of 1955. It was just his second race, yet he finished third against a pack of more experienced drivers. Then Dean wanted to step up in class. He was infatuated with the Porsche Spyder, the most sought-after new sports car in America.
The Porsche Spyder was developed specifically for racing by the factory in Germany. 5 Spyders were sent over to Johnny von Neumann's in California, and James Dean got the last Spyder.
The car excited him because the car was really going to be a race car for him. A sports racing car was narrowed it down for one thing, that was competition.
Dean's love affair with speed and racing fit in perfectly with his real-life persona. He sought out danger and loved to walk the edge, a brilliant but troubled young man possessed by demons only he could see. He was fascinated, some say obsessed, with death and the macabre. He liked to tell people he slept in a coffin and cultivated a relationship with TV's first glamorous ghoul, Vampira, who claimed to be a witch and sparked Dean's temporary interest in witchcraft and the occult. He was also photographed in mock hangings. Dean spoke often of death, especially his own, and said he had premonitions of it. But of all the eerie and ironic twists surrounding Dean's death, one stands out above all the rest. A public service television spot he made for the National Safety Council less than 2 weeks before he died.
Jimmy, we probably have a great many young people watching our show tonight, and for their benefit, I'd like your opinion about fast driving on the highway. Do you think it's a good idea?
It's a good point. I used to fly around quite a bit, took a lot of unnecessary chances on the highways. And I started racing, and now I drive on the highways and I'm extra cautious. No one knows what they're doing. Half the time you don't know what this guy's going to do with that one.
Do you have any special advice for the young people who drive?
Take it easy driving. Life, you might say, might be mine.
13 days later, Dean and mechanic Rolf Wuthrich were driving the Spyder to Salinas, California for a race Dean had entered. Still trying to break the car in, Dean kept it at high speed. But as they approached an intersection with another highway, a car coming in the other direction made a left turn directly in front of the Spyder. Wuthrich was thrown from the car and, despite sustaining major injuries, survived. But Dean was mangled in the wreckage and died within minutes. After his death, a number of eerie mysteries and odd occurrences took place, centered around the wreckage of his car. The Spyder had a rear engine, and while the body was smashed beyond repair, the engine and combined transmission and rear axle unit, known as the transaxle, were intact and were purchased by Dr. William Eskrich, a racing enthusiast. Dr. Eskrich installed the engine in his Lotus and loaned some parts to a racing friend, Dr. Troy McHenry. 13 months later, McHenry was killed while racing when his car slammed into a tree. In a separate accident in the same race, Dr. Eskrich was severely injured. Both cars still contained the parts salvaged from Dean's wreckage. It was the beginning of what came to be known as the curse of the James Dean car. The crumpled body of the car went on to a strange afterlife itself, once it was purchased by Hollywood car customizer George Barris, who took it on tour for the National Safety Council.
The trail of events started when, after the car was delivered to our plant by the yard that was storing it, it slipped off the dollies and fell on one of the attendant's legs and broke his legs. Then I started touring the car. It gets to Fresno, and we had the car stored in a building, getting ready for the show, and the building burns down.
Later, When the car was being transported to, ironically, Salinas, the truck carrying it skidded. The driver was thrown out and crushed to death when Dean's car rolled off the flatbed. Things got even eerier after that when the car body itself disappeared.
After touring, we sent it to Florida to another one of the safety campaign. It was then loaded onto a truck that was to be brought back to California. Of course, 8 days later, when the truck arrived, there was no car on the truck. We were very surprised and amazed. The pink slip was still there, the copy of the title.
I don't believe that the car was chopped up for souvenirs. In all of my interviews and my writing over the years, I have never talked with anybody that has said that they have a piece of the car as a souvenir. I believe that the car is intact, and I believe that it's in hiding.
Because of the occurrences and the curse on this car by people getting hurt from being associated, touching it, whatever, has made this probably one of the most wanted cars in the history of automobiles.
To this day, the whereabouts of the car body is still a mystery. And did the alleged curse disappear with it? Well, we may have an answer soon, because the transaxle from Dean's car is still floating around 35 years later, with a trail extending from Hollywood all the way to Boston. Jack Stiles collects and races vintage cars and has a passion for Porsches. Tracing the original factory stamped serial number of the transaxle led us to Stiles, who's installed it in a Spider he's restoring and plans to race. He's not exactly worried about the Dean curse, but he is aware of it.
I'm looking at it mechanically. I just consider it another portion, just another piece of metal, and I don't think it has a curse on it. At the same token, I suppose I would go to more of a degree to make sure everything's correct on it. And hopefully in a short while it will be together and running. And then we'll see what happens with this curse.
Jack Stiles hopes to begin racing his Porsche Spider with the Dean transaxle in it in October. We'll be back in a minute with Las Vegas' secret weapon in the war against cheaters, the eye in the sky. And we'll reveal the tricks of the trade used car dealers don't want you to learn.
Now you can get an NCAA mini basketball from Pizza Hut for $2.99 with any pizza purchase. But hurry, they're moving fast. The 1991 NCAA mini basketball for just $2.99 at Pizza Hut.
Making it great. If you ever need an operator at 3 o'clock in the morning, Sprint has smart, friendly operators ready to serve you 24 hours a day. How can anybody be smart and friendly at 3 in the morning?
Whiskas Select Entrees. A special Whiskas with the select meats cats love to eat. Whiskas, the world's most preferred food for cats.
I swim, I jog. I love junk food. Sometimes even I get constipation. When it happens to me, I take this little pill. It's X-Lax. Surprised?
More people choose X-Lax than any other laxative. Today's X-Lax gives you a choice. Extra gentle pills when you need a little help, regular pills when you need a little more. Today's X-Lax, for regular people who sometimes aren't.
If you're looking for non-stop action, there's no place like Las Vegas. Last year alone, more than $50 billion passed through slot machines and across gaming tables. And with that much money in constant motion, larceny is a primary concern. But the odds are so stacked against cheaters that getting away with anything is now the longest shot in town. At the Las Vegas Hilton, as at all casinos, security is a high-stakes business. In fact, they're so serious about it here, they've installed one of the most sophisticated and expensive security systems around. The action is still on the floor, but the secrets are found in the ceiling.
In any casino, you see bubbles. Underneath the bubbles are the cameras. This room is a central location to operate those cameras. We have 350 cameras approximately in each casino, each capable of full pan, tilt, and zoom. There's no blind spots in the casino as far as our cameras are concerned. We could zoom in and see a second-hand move on a watch at 6 different angles.
The moment you enter the casino, you're on-camera talent, and everything you do is recorded on tape, which can then be used as evidence against you if you try to bilk the house. It's a system so formidable, the hotel has never lost a case.
We've got approximately $2 million invested in this room here. So we don't want to just slap the person on the hand. If they're doing something wrong against us or any of our patrons, we want to go for full prosecution.
And cameras aren't the only eyes in the sky. The games can also be monitored from above through two-way mirrors.
This is a visual aid looking over the casino floor to watch all the live table games. We can see things here that sometimes aren't seen with the cameras right away and get people with the cameras on those games as soon as possible. It's important that, that they don't know where you are and what you watch, because that'll keep people honest that may not be honest.
In Vegas, they've seen every kind of scam imaginable, and many of them have been saved forever on videotape. What you're about to see are not recreations. They are actual attempts at cheating captured by the casino's cameras. Watch the screen very carefully. This is a roulette ploy called past posting, placing a bet after the ball has landed. All the players are working together to distract the dealer so one of the players can sneak a bet onto the number that's just come up. A distraction, a bet, and a guaranteed winner. Watch closely now in slow motion. The man at the right creates a distraction while the ball lands. The man at the bottom places the winning bet with his partner's chips. And while his partners walk away apparent losers, the man at the left collects thousands of dollars in winnings.
We just had an occurrence happen here with a woman 80 years old. And she was a typical little old 80-year-old lady, except that she had a record, and she had done this several times before. There'll be a player with considerable amount of chips and what they call the rail in front of where he's playing. Someone will come next to him on either side, and as the person is shooting or is looking at a different area, they'll just come and grab some of the person's chips who has them all in front of him and put them in his pocket. These people practice day in and day out to beat the system.
Even people who know the system's in place will occasionally try to beat it. This dealer is taking chips out of the tray and palming them in his right hand while continuing to pay off the winners. He'll go back, take more chips out. Now he's palming $5 chips. He puts them in his pocket and thinks he's gotten away with it.
We had a dealer who was pretending to have a cold. So he'd keep going to his face or his nose or rubbing his eye. So he'd get the people around him used to this move, like he had a cold. When he felt that everyone around him felt comfortable with these moves, he'd put his hand on top of a stack of chips, take one, rub his eye, and put the chip in his mouth. He would do this 1 or 2 minutes before his relief would come in to take him off the game, because they work 40 minutes on, 20 minutes off. We saw him do it up here, and we were going to nail him this one evening. So he put a $100 chip in his mouth, and we held up his relief. Nobody believed him. You talk about getting nervous. He's got a $100 chip in his mouth. He can't spit it out. He can't swallow it. It's too big. He knows his relief is late, and he just stays there. We let him stay there for 15 minutes before Gamey came and arrested him right on the floor. When we arrest people, we do it right on the casino floor on a live game. It makes the customers know that we're right on the job. It makes the people who work here think twice. Is it worth it? I was trained not to trust anyone in my job. And it's very easy for me because I'm Sicilian anyway.
It might not be justified, but a lot of people think of today's used car salesman as the modern-day version of the old snake oil vendor, somebody who's out to take you for a ride in more ways than one. Well, if you're in the market for a used car, we've got some secrets we'd like to reveal. Now, let's take this baby right here. How do we know this car hasn't been in an accident? One thing you might check is whether it's been repainted. Look for overspraying, paint where it shouldn't be, under the hood, here, along the door jambs, or right here, along the chrome. See how the paint is on the chrome in addition to the body? Here's another indication a car could have been in an accident. This is an easy test. Take a magnet and a piece of paper, and then run it along the body. If the magnet falls off, there's no metal underneath here. That's body filter. And by the way, that's an easy test you can perform on your own car at home, but do yourself a favor and use the piece of paper. What about car keys? One key should open every door on the car. If there are multiple keys, that oftentimes is an indication that a door has had to have been replaced. The tires now. Check the tires to make sure all of them are the same size. And you know the old refrain about kicking the tires? Well, if you do that, that's going to tell you absolutely nothing about the car, but it's going to tell the dealer all he needs to know about you. Next up, you know, it's hard to believe, but almost half the people who play video games in America are adults. So Mom and Dad, we've got a secret that you'll enjoy as well as your kids, and it's something your kids don't even know. A little bit later in the show, we're going to reveal to you how to beat Super Mario Bros. 3, the hottest new game in the country. For now, though, one quick tip. How to give Super Mario eternal life.
I'm in World 3-4. And what I'm going to do is see if I can find one of these turtles over here and toss the turtle so he goes back and forth between the blocks. Every time a new Spiny comes down, you'll be able to rack up an extra life.
Someone finally made oatmeal the way I like it.
He doesn't like oatmeal.
Oatmeal crisp.
Never in a million years.
Oatmeal crisp is big, crispy flakes with oatmeal. Little brown sugar, lots of crunchy almonds.
Impossible.
This is oatmeal made my way.
Don't you lie to your mother.
Look, Ma, I'm eating my oatmeal. Oatmeal crisp, oatmeal raisin crisp.
You never ate my oatmeal.
When I'm on the court, I just don't make shots. I take them. So when I'm done slamming, I'm jamming in Hanes fashion underwear. It has a style that I'm used to with the comfort that I can't find flying through a 7-foot wall of arms and elbows.
Yeah, that's right. Got the tickets, Michael?
Guys, we don't need tickets.
Now you're wearing what you like. Hanes, nothing else feels so right.
These days, you need all the help you can get.
But where do you get it?
At Color Tile, where our prices are even lower than last year. Like DuPont Stainmaster Carpet, just $10.99.
You won't believe what I got for 49 cents.
Yes, we've lowered our price on no-wax vinyl tile. And on ceramics, too.
Free. I got more than half of my mini blinds for free.
We do it for you. Mini blinds, buy one, get two free. When the going gets tough, go to Color Tile's biggest sale of the year.
Hurry, sale ends Sunday.
I got 11 guys on my list, and I like to call them all up and say thanks, and then tell them they better get their act together for next season.
Why is Bill Parcells making a list and giving it to MCI? Find out March 18th.
You've always trusted Woolite to care for your sweaters. Wouldn't you love to get that same Woolite care for your rugs and for your chairs? Well, try Woolite Deep Cleaning Rug Cleaner and Woolite Upholstery Cleaner. Trust Woolite care for rugs and chairs.
You're in love, Rob.
Tuesday after Who's the Boss? How do you handle a kid making a bold fashion statement?
Alice wants me to get my ear pierced.
We got a big metallic bucket out there in the garage. Catch all that blood that comes out of your head.
Davis Rules, Tuesday.
Wednesday, a cop's designs on Julie.
I'm gonna give up police work and buy some spray paint.
Give him an appreciation for the arts.
Appreciate this. A raw expression of subculture, don't you agree?
It's a culture clash on Equal Justice, Wednesday.
UFO sightings are not that uncommon. In fact, an average of 6 are reported every day, and they've been spotted all around the country. But when a significant number of sightings come from one small town, and have been reported over a period of several years, you have to think something odd is happening. Either that or an entire community has gone into orbit. Gulf Breeze is a quiet little town of 5,000 in the northwestern Panhandle.
This is an ABC News special report on the Gulf War. Reporting from New York, Peter Jennings.
A brief interruption because for the millions of us who are following the war so closely, there may have been some significant developments. Take you back a couple of hours. There was an announcement on Baghdad radio earlier this evening in the name of Saddam Hussein ordering his troops to withdraw from Kuwait under a Soviet plan which the president had rejected some days ago, which said there must first be a ceasefire. Whatever is going on, it has attracted the president's top security staff to the White House tonight. Here's ABC's Britt Hume. Britt?
Peter, that's correct. The Bush High Command is meeting in the West Wing of the White House as we speak. However, spokesman Fitzwater insists that we do not, he said, have any direct information from Saddam Hussein or Baghdad, and the UN has had none. Nonetheless, he issued a short prepared statement in which he said that despite all that, there's a war on, and because there's a war on, the safety and security of U.S. coalition troops must be the first priority. That suggests an awareness of some kind of some major movement of Iraqi troops, perhaps in retreat.
Who's at the meeting?
General Colin Powell, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Secretary of Defense Cheney, Vice President Quayle, National Security Advisor Scowcroft, and others as well.
But I wouldn't want to presume, but they wouldn't all show up if it were just an ordinary evening, would they?
I would think not, Peter, although there is some real sense here that what we may be looking at, as much as the situation with the radio broadcast from Baghdad, is also the situation on the ground militarily.
Okay, Britt, thanks very much. Let's go over to the Pentagon, because if anybody was looking for reasons, there is now evidence that the Iraqis and the United States have had a major battle on the ground in which, Bob Zelnick over at the Pentagon, the Iraqis have apparently fared appallingly.
Yes, Peter. Last night, as elements of 2 Marine divisions and the 2nd Armored Divisions advanced toward Kuwait City, they were counterattacked fiercely by at least 3 Iraqi divisions. I'm told that the Iraqis positioned themselves very, very well. They were in position to launch very substantial damage-causing attacks against the U.S. forces, but they were outgunned. The U.S. forces had M1A1 tanks. The Iraqis had T-55s, and at the end of the battle, nearly 100 Iraqi tanks were destroyed, while the U.S. forces lost not a single armored vehicle.
And the Pentagon, Bob, is also seeing some scattered evidence of Iraqis trying to get out of the country?
Yes, Peter. The evidence throughout the day has been that there were some scattered units moving north, and intelligence didn't know quite what to make of it until the Baghdad radio broadcast. And for the moment, at least, until contrary orders are received, the word is to U.S. commanders in the field, accept nothing but surrender.
Okay, Bob Zelnick of the Pentagon, Britt Hume of the White House, thank you. As I said, we interrupt only because it may well be a significant development. ABC's David Ensor, who is over at the United Nations, reports rather circuitous, complicated way that the Yemeni ambassador to the United Nations tells him that he's been talking to the Soviet ambassador, and the Soviets have heard at their embassy in Baghdad that this radio broadcast is serious. Saddam Hussein has now made it clear that he wants the war to come to an end and his troops to withdraw. And let me just quote a little bit here in terms of Baghdad radio before we leave you. Orders have been issued to the armed forces to withdraw in an organized manner to the positions they held prior to August the 1st. This is regarded as a practical compliance with UN Resolution 660. You will recall that the president rejected the Iraqi-Soviet deal as it was presented to him because it did not meet with all of the UN resolutions which the president insisted on. But that's the situation as of now. We'll keep you up to date every hour on the hour or sooner. I'm Peter Jennings at ABC News headquarters in New York.
This has been an ABC News special report on the Gulf War.
Sure, just like the color of that, up in the sky, and there was no glow around it. It was just there.
I thought it was a star. It kept getting brighter and brighter, coming closer and closer. I don't have a good enough grasp of it to really understand how to even try to begin to understand.
Scanning the skies has become a social event in Gulf Breeze. One of the favored watching areas is a park next to the Pensacola Bridge. Here, UFO hunters ready their cameras, VCRs, and binoculars and wait.
Boy, I'd love to see something.
It's January 11th, 10:48 p.m. While our cameras are there, word goes out again.
Got something? That's it.
An unidentified object is seen in the sky. As you see from this unedited videotape shot by our America's Best Kept Secrets camera crew, the object appears as a glowing red light.
It's marvelous. They're all having a good time. There's some people who have a need that they be the center of attention. There's certainly going to be plenty of people in the town who've seen lights just like you have, who will swear that the light they saw is exactly the same light that is identical to the images that Ed Walters has shown in his photographs. That doesn't make them liars. It doesn't make Ed's pictures true. These are not scientific comments on the part of the local people.
So what was the red light we saw in the sky? Well, to solve the puzzle, we first tried to eliminate the obvious. To begin with, there are 4 major military installations within a 30-mile radius of the Gulf Breeze area, plus the Pensacola International Airport. We checked with the airport control tower first, and were told there were definitely no planes taking off or landing at the time of our sighting. They suggested we contact the Air Force, but the Air Force said they had no planes in the vicinity at that time either, and suggested we try the Navy. The Navy echoed the Air Force, telling us, quote, there were no flights or weapons testing that evening. No civilian aircraft, no Air Force planes, no Navy planes, and no reports of anything unusual from the Coast Guard. So what is going on in Gulf Breeze, Florida?
I think there has been a concerted effort by our government to suppress information about UFOs. I believe they know a great deal more than they're telling us. I think there's a great deal of evidence in that direction.
Whether or not the government can keep that kind of secret, I have no idea. They're in the business to keep secrets if they need to, but just the act of being able to do it for over 30 years, I find it improbable.
I'd have to say that any single factor by itself wouldn't stand up, but all of them combined go to paint a picture that is irrefutable, that the best military minds in our area say is not our own military, which leads me to believe that it must be extraterrestrial.
So are UFOs real, and are they in the skies above Gulf Breeze? Who knows? Whatever the answer, something strange is happening there, and it's still a secret. When we come back, we'll board an airline so exclusive your travel agent doesn't even know it exists.
Put out a happy face, cause Planters presents Everybody Loves a Nut.
Planters cashews are so sinfully indulgent, they give me the urge to do something naughty. This tag clearly reads, do not remove under penalty of law.
Run! As the great taste of Planters proves, we're the reason why everybody loves a nut.
It's Red Lobster's new lunch special. Shrimp and chicken, just $3.99. Golden fried shrimp and grilled chicken breast with salad and baked potato, just $3.99 for a limited time at Red Lobster for lunch.
Got great curves? Great curves deserve
18-hour.
Playtex 18-hour bra. Supports full figures more beautifully.
Comfortably.
Great curves deserve
The 18-hour bra.
From Playtex, the fit that makes the fashion.
Tuesday, the guys plan a wild bachelor party.
Strippers? Yeah, strippers.
Ooh. So the girls have a night out.
This is happening. Believe me, they're not having this much fun.
30-something.
Wednesday.
Is there something wrong with him?
He ate my shoes.
Glad he's not my dog.
Kevin, I think we should have Buster fixed.
The Wonder Years and
I'm Rachel.
Hi, Rachel.
Mike joins a group to get the girl.
I'm Mike.
Hi.
On growing pains, then
Doogie, I got the job.
Mom's on the stack.
Not bad, huh?
That was my mother. Thank God Doogie's still a virgin.
It's tough on Doogie Howser, MD.
I want you to quit.
Wednesday.
Woodcraft Furniture offers unbeatable bedroom buys, like this 5-piece cherry group, sold elsewhere for $11.99, now just $6.99 at Woodcraft. Dixie's Country French Chez Michel bedroom is found at Woodcraft at Oklahoma's lowest prices. Save hundreds. Save 25 to 32% on the magnificent Victorian Sampler Collection by Dixie. This piece, only $2.99. Easy, zero-interest financing at Woodcraft Furniture, 5000 South Sheridan.
Once you really look into the electric heat pump, you discover what a risky gamble it is in Oklahoma's climate. And why take a chance on equipment with an average warranty of only 5 years compared to 20 years for a natural gas furnace? Think about it. Which lasts longer, an electric heat pump with lots of moving parts or a high-efficiency gas furnace with just a few? Call now for facts about gas. It's right on the money for Oklahoma.
Is Saddam about to pull out of Kuwait? Details at 10.
U.S. airlines spend more than $600 million a year on advertising. But there's one airline that's never spent a dime in that area. Why? Well, they don't care about your business. You see, their clientele is already locked in. It's America's secret airline. No published time schedules, no frequent flyer plans, no catchy jingles. And the service is the ultimate in no frills. In fact, the only thing they haven't skimped on is security. This airline isn't for everyone, although if you meet certain qualifications, you do get to ride for free. And 43,000 passengers did last year. Of course, there is one little hitch. The only passengers allowed aboard are convicts, federal prisoners the government is transporting from one city to another.
They're not here because they want to be. They're here because we put them here for a purpose.
Welcome to the one and only Con Air.
Well, for one thing, we don't have stewards on there. We have a large number of deputy U.S. Marshals on that plane. And also, we don't serve coffee nor tea, just me.
Like other airlines, Con Air does offer reserved seating. Women sit in the front, men in back. Want a window seat? Well, if you're violent or considered an escape risk, you'll get one.
Believe me, we have people on that plane would go to any means to escape.
On this airline, the seats don't recline, there are no movies, and don't bother looking for tray tables. Not that the passengers could reach them anyway. They're restrained by leg irons, waist irons, and handcuffs. And the in-flight announcement isn't like any you've heard before.
Listen up on the aircraft. Fasten your seat belts during takeoff. Keep your seat belts on. If you have a problem, ask one of the deputies to help you out.
Con Air doesn't exactly fly the friendly skies, so their timetable is a highly guarded secret. After all, the jet setters on this plane are murderers, rapists, bank robbers, and Colombian drug smugglers. The Con Air fleet includes 16 planes, 3 of them confiscated from drug dealers. In a typical day, the fleet will hit as many as 36 different destinations.
You know, being unable to move is the only difference. I mean, it's comfortable flight and everything.
I'm originally from Ohio, and I'm on my way to California now. Sunny California.
But not everyone is happy with the ride.
No peanuts. No, you can't talk to the men. Not that I want to, but you can't talk to the men.
About the only thing Con Air has in common with commercial carriers is that they do serve an in-flight meal.
Well, the food that the U.S. Marshals serve on Con Air is not your basic gourmet food. What we serve on there is a plain sandwich, potato chips, and a drink.
To visit the bathroom, you need permission and an escort. Once there, your chains are left on, and for security reasons, the door stays open.
For 200 years, we've been involved in the transportation of prisoners. We're looking at a cost of approximately about $176 at this time per passenger. The increase in the prisoner load has gone beyond what the capabilities of the system could provide, so we've had to switch to a mass transit type system.
The moment one of these planes touches down, it taxis to a remote corner of the airport, where it is immediately surrounded by heavily armed federal agents. No passenger terminals or skyways here, just police cars, vans, and buses full of other prisoners waiting to depart. When the rear door is finally lowered, the prisoners are let off a few at a time.
What's your name? What's your age? Know your number?
On Con Air, the passenger list is checked as thoroughly after landing as it is before takeoff. And it's certainly the only airline where flight attendants give you this kind of personal attention. Every passenger is searched closely before and after the flight. Deputies check for drugs or anything that could be used as a weapon. For security reasons, Con Air doesn't fly at night or on weekends. And when you do fly, you may sit through as many as 7 stopovers along the way. For those used to normal airline travel, Con Air can leave a little to be desired.
If I had to compare this flight to the last one, I'd walk all the way back to D.C. I'd walk.
Con Air is only a nickname, but the marshals say they like it, even if it wasn't their first choice. But you see, the name Federal Express was already taken. It's amazing how many secrets are right under our noses, or some other parts of our anatomy for that matter. Take the black stripe on the back of your ATM or any credit card. Did you ever wonder what little secrets are held by that black stripe? Let me show you. Last year, Americans ran up charges of more than $470 billion on their credit cards. But every time you say charge it, you're not just adding to your debt, you're adding information to secret files about you. At credit card centers like this, that information is collected, stored, and then used to determine not just how much you owe, but things like whether you're a good risk. The first information comes from your application form, but the rest comes and keeps on coming from that little black stripe.
Our magnetic stripe has recorded information that identifies your account number to us when it's transmitted through one of the terminals, and permits us to match up your account number with our account record and complete the authorization transaction.
But there's a lot more to it than that, or at least there can be. You see, inside that black area, there are actually 3 separate stripes, each carrying a different kind of information. The first one can classify you by risk, perhaps from your payment history. The second one carries your name, address, account number, and something called discretionary information, which can include your entire purchasing pattern, how much you spend, what you buy and where you buy it, and how often you use your card. Then there's the third stripe. Banking officials don't like to talk about that one because it's designed to be interactive, which means it can actually be updated with new information about you the very moment you use the card. So remember, every time you use one of your cards, you're helping to build a secret intelligence file about you. And how that information is used or potentially misused is a secret we may never know.
Do you have a cold?
Yeah.
Here are 2 cold medicines. One relieves these 3 symptoms, this 9. Choose one.
9.
Why?
That's me all the way down the list. Muscle ache, congestion, general body ache, headache.
You chose Dristan over Sudafed.
I am shocked.
Would you try Dristan?
Yes, I would.
How do you feel now?
Night and day difference, 100% better.
Dristan relieves 9 tough cold symptoms.
I love Dristan, yeah. It's great.
With the uncertainty of today's real estate market, many would-be home buyers have decided to do nothing at all. Coldwell Banker, on the other hand, thinks it's time to wake up to the possibilities. Home prices may never be this affordable again. Interest rates may never be this attractive. Altogether, it's a great time to buy a home. All it takes is opening your eyes to the opportunities and knowing who to call. Coldwell Banker, a member of the Sears Financial Network.
Maytag, can I help you? No. Maytag, can I help you? At Maytag, our repairmen will make sure they're on top of their skills.
Maytag's the name, repairs the game.
Just in case. After all, it has happened.
Maytag headquarters.
A Maytag does need a repair.
Hello? No, dear. I won't be working late tonight.
Maytag. The dependability people.
Brother, get met. It pays.
Tuesday, Roseanne and Dan are Vegas bound.
The best odds in Las Vegas in our favor at the buffet table.
Roseanne, then Hayden's left out in the cold.
Remember to tell your father that I'm the one that did that.
Coach. Tuesday. Wednesday, will the hunter finally bag the big game?
This is not some woman that you can just mount in your den.
John Ritter, Jamie Lee Curtis, and Richard Lewis. Anything but love, Wednesday.
Uncovering secrets isn't easy because we usually don't know where to look. When you walk down a street, you look at it one way. But someone else, someone who knows a secret, can look at it in an entirely different way. And secrets come easily on the streets of New York. The sheer number of people who crowd its avenues assures that. But across the East River in Brooklyn, one of New York's best-kept secrets isn't on the streets, it's under them. Bob Diamond is sort of a poor man's Indiana Jones. When he puts his construction barriers around an inconspicuous manhole cover on Atlantic Avenue, the thousands of other people who use this busy street have no idea that he's about to descend into a world of his own.
Back in the winter of 1978, I was listening to the radio, and they mentioned in passing a legend of a tunnel under Atlantic Avenue, but no one knew where it was or believed it was there.
As an amateur archaeologist, Bob studied old maps and newspaper articles until he pinpointed what he believed to be the access point to the legendary tunnel.
I had to crawl 70 feet on my stomach through a section underneath Court Street. I came upon a concrete bulkhead, and after poking around, I found that there was an opening molded into the concrete.
The opening revealed a sealed section of tunnel from the 1840s. It was a half-mile long, 17 feet high, and 21 feet wide, part of the world's first subway.
All along the way, people told me there's no such place, it doesn't exist, it's only a rumor and a legend, it has armies of man-eating rats inside and alligators.
While cars and pedestrians clog the street up above, Bob usually has his tunnel entirely to himself.
Right over here are some graffiti from 1844 that was chiseled directly into the stonework by some of the 800 Irish laborers who built this place in only 7 months. Into ventilation, ducts on.
Bob takes great pride in discovering the tunnel, but he thinks there's an even grander prize still to be unearthed.
This newspaper article is what I used to discover the entrance to this tunnel, which no one else could find. All of the anecdotes mentioned in this newspaper article turned out to be 100% correct. And the last anecdote, which this newspaper article talks about, is the old wood-burning steam locomotive.
Bob thinks there's another section of tunnel and a train just beyond his tunnel's far wall. But the way is blocked by a 10-foot thick wall of pipes and wires, the arteries of the city's utilities. So his only hope is to bypass it and drill in from the top.
150 feet right behind this wall, we should find that steam locomotive from the 1830s.
And with help from America's best-kept secrets, Bob gets a chance to drill 2 test holes on Atlantic Avenue. Straight into the tunnel he believes holds his train. He thinks that because of a broken axle, construction workers sealed the locomotive up 130 years ago rather than trying to remove it.
I've been up all night with my fingers crossed. Couldn't be more excited than I am right now.
We're going to keep on drilling.
Yes, we got to keep on drilling. Okay. Now they've gone down about 4 feet or so. There's another 4 feet left to go. My adrenaline's running full blast, I can tell you that. Oh yeah, it's brick. Red brick. That's the roof of the tunnel. We got red brick starting to come up out of that boring hole. Right about where the diagram said the roof of the tunnel should be, and the roof of the tunnel is red brick. Here's a piece of it right here. Hey, where's the infrared cameras?
A Department of the Interior mine safety team lowers a special television camera into the test hole. If the tunnel has not been filled in, Bob will know within moments if he's found his locomotive.
There's nothing there. Doesn't seem to be a cavity.
All they see is the out-of-focus, undifferentiated wall of the test hole. Both holes did hit the new tunnel, but discovered it's been filled in with dirt. Brooklyn, it seems, isn't ready to give up its secret train. But then Bob Diamond isn't ready to give up his search either.
I'm very encouraged by what we found today, because prior to today, all I had were some vague stories and antique newspaper articles claiming that the tunnel came this far. I'm not giving up. I have now gotten more inspiration to finish this excavation work.
The popularity of video games in America is at an all-time high, and as stated earlier, the hottest game is Super Mario Bros. 3. So pay attention. Here are the secrets behind that game, including the big one: how to defeat King Koopa and win. Practice, practice, practice may get you to Carnegie Hall, but to beat Super Mario Bros. 3, you'll need more than that. Let's start with how you hold the controller.
Always hold your finger on the B button when you're playing. When you do that, Mario runs wherever he goes. Instead of walking, he runs. If you need to jump or something, just push down on the heel of your thumb. But always keep the tip of your thumb on the A, and you'll really be a power player.
Howard Phillips may be the best video game player in the world. In fact, at Nintendo, he's known as the Game Master. Now, for the first time on television, he's going to reveal Mario's ultimate secrets. Even if you don't play very often, this will still put you ahead of the game.
Well, first thing that a player wants to know is how to get farther into the game quickly, because that's one of the big rewards of a game. And in Mario Brothers, there's 3 hidden warp whistles that allow you to get farther into the game. The first one is found in level 1-3. And you can find it if you go towards the end of the level. There's a white block that you can stand on top of. And what you do is you duck down. You hold onto your hat and you duck down and hold there for about 5 seconds, the count of 5. Mario will drop down behind the white block, and in fact disappearing. Then you run to the end of the level as quickly as possible, and you go to a magic room where there's a warp whistle. Second one, you can get in the fortress on level 1. If you go there and go about halfway through, you'll get to a dry bones, which is a turtle that's a skeleton. You squish him, and then you run back and forth, getting enough speed so that Mario can fly. You fly up through the ceiling of the dungeon and over to the right, and you'll find a hidden door that shows you where the second warp whistle is. The third warp whistle is in World 2 on the overworld screen. If you get to the point where the upper right-hand corner has a rock on the screen, you have to use a hammer to break that rock, and you go into a new area of the screen that you couldn't see before. In this area, if you go and defeat the Hammer Brothers, whoa! You'll get the third warp whistle. I think the ultimate tip for Super Mario 3 is that there's a way that you can defeat King Koopa at the end of the game without him breathing fire at you, and you actually become invincible when you battle him. I really shouldn't tell you this, but the trick is you get the P-Wing from the princess, and you take that to about halfway through the last level, and you'll find this area where there's a fall through the bottom of the screen, and you take the second corridor from the top, and you go to the right until you get to Koopa. Then you fly up to the top of the screen and walk over to the left, and then back to the right again. And when you battle Koopa, he won't have any fire anymore, and also he can only touch you once, and once he's done that, then he'll just jump up and down and eventually fall through the bottom of the screen, and you'll win the game. There are lots of secrets in almost every program, and programmers put them in there on purpose sometimes, by mistake other times, but they're in there to make you have fun, and if you're really good, you can find almost every single one.
More secrets still to come, so stick around.
It was a disaster. My daughter dropped a whole jar of pickled beets on her coat. Our local cleaner wouldn't touch it, so I gave her my Liquid Tide. It cleaned the coat beautifully. Liquid Tide is fantastic. Sincerely, Mildred Morrow.
Can your liquid get out pickled beets? Liquid Tide did. You'll be surprised how many things Liquid Tide gets out. If it's gotta be clean, it's gotta be Tide.
The world's most comfortable mattress would be one you couldn't feel at all. That's the idea behind Sealy's Posturepedic sleep system, designed to support everyone differently, to conform to every curve, distribute your weight evenly. Only Sealy Posturepedic has it, and for a more comfortable night's sleep, there's nothing like it.
It's not easy to pull yourself away from a bowl of Kellogg's Raisin Bran. Those 2 scoops of raisins taste so good you'll find that once you start you can't leave them behind. It's those 2 scoops that taste too good to pull yourself away. 2 scoops of raisins, golden flakes of bran. Get every bite you can. It's those 2 scoops that taste too good to pull yourself away. 2 scoops that taste too good in Kellogg's Raisin Bran. 2 scoops.
Next, he's back.
You like cops?
As long as they're not in my rearview mirror.
Clint Eastwood is Dirty Harry.
I don't like scum like you trying to kill me.
He's a marked man in the Deadpool next.
In news reports from the Persian Gulf, we hear of smart bombs and laser-guided missiles, weapons that illustrate the high-tech nature of modern warfare. But looks can be deceiving, especially in battle. And in fact, one of the most important links in our National Defense Force comes with a decidedly low-tech look. It's tucked away near Omaha, Nebraska, an airborne fail-safe system with the code name Looking Glass.
The name Looking Glass denotes the fact that it can mirror the capabilities of our primary command post, which is underground. That command post is not survivable to a direct nuclear attack. And should that command post perish, then the command of strategic forces would automatically evolve to the airborne command post and the general officer that would be on board.
Simply put, this plane can take control of our nuclear forces should ground headquarters be hit. And for the first time, our cameras have been allowed on board. From rotary phones to seemingly antiquated control panels, it's easy to underestimate the power this plane could wield. But while it may not look state-of-the-art, it has one feature no other plane does: the keys to unlock our nuclear arsenal.
All right, sir. Simultaneous rotation on my mark. All right, sir. 3, 2, 1, mark.
The Looking Glass planes may not share the same space-age look or exotic names of our high-tech arsenal, but for more than 2 decades, they've been and continue to be a vital link in our national defense system. Baseball is a game full of secrets. The catcher is forever sending signs to the pitcher. The manager and coaches flash signs to the batter and base runners, and the other guys sit around and try to steal the signs. But one of the best-kept secrets in baseball is how a pitcher gets away with putting more than spin on the ball. When they throw curves, sliders, screwballs, breaking stuff, pitchers are using the laws of physics. But there are some pitches you can only throw by abusing the laws of baseball.
Any way the pitcher can doctor the ball increases the effectiveness of the pitcher throwing a breaking pitch. If I spit on it, I'll change the characteristics of the interaction of the surface with the air and enhance the curve in that way.
To doctor a ball without being caught involves a great deal of stealth, but there are any number of places in or on a player's uniform where foreign substances can be stashed. The glove, the cap, the back pocket, underneath the belt. You can even use the uniform itself, a razor-sharp belt buckle, for example. These methods that alter the face of the ball might sound too obvious, but then how do you explain that the game's most celebrated doctor, Gaylord Perry, with his renowned ritual, got away with it for more than 20 years and wound up pitching himself into the Hall of Fame? The most famous instance of a pitcher getting caught red-handed was when umpires found an emery board in pitcher Joe Niekro's possession. And as we go to the videotape, Joe Niekro's little secret was revealed in front of millions and cost him thousands in fines. In baseball, a physicist can unravel some of the mystery of why a ball curves or jumps or darts. But putting that science into play effectively is still one of the sport's best-kept secrets. Some secrets are meant to be kept, but let's be realistic. In most cases, it's a lot more fun sharing them with others. How tough is it to keep a secret? Ben Franklin said, 3 can keep a secret if 2 of them are dead. Thanks for watching. Good night. Continental is pleased to have provided transportation. Whether you're taking off for a family vacation or a secret getaway, Continental for a great winter vacation.
Hi, I'm Rick Dees. Stay up late tonight and see everybody's favorite TV dad, superstar Bill Cosby, and behind the scenes with voices that care into the night.
Stay tuned for the ABC Monday Night Movie. Next.
Tonight on Nightline, another day of major battlefield losses for Iraq and a report that Saddam orders a retreat. We'll have the latest from the Gulf tonight.
So many diets